Welcome to the Fayetteville Fire Podcast, where we talk about all things fire-related, safety tips, and things that are happening in our can-do city. I'm Captain Don Cheetah.
And I'm Captain Stephen Shakeshaft.
And we'll be your host for today's podcast. Did you know more than 9,000 people nationwide annually are treated for fireworks-related injuries, with 62% of them occurring during the months surrounding the 4th of July. We'll talk about that more later during our safety message of the month. So welcome to our podcast today. We're going to do something a little different. Captain Shakeshaft, thank you for joining me.
Good to be here. Glad to be back.
For the next 20 or so minutes, we're going to talk about all the changes that have been going on in the Fayetteville Fire Department.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't see on the outside, they don't see the changes that are happening internally, and we see a lot of shuffling, but the public doesn't get to see it a lot.
In my time here, in the number of chiefs that have gone during my tenure, this is what I recall maybe one of the biggest shake-ups, moves, adjustments.
Yeah, as folks are retiring, moving on to that next phase of their career, it's opening up a lot of opportunities for our folks to move up as well.
Yeah, and speaking of retirements, just in the last month, we've had a retirement of Assistant Chief T.J. McClam, our fire marshal, Assistant Chief Vince Lewis, who is the chief over our USAR program, and Battalion Chief Bob Bowers. That's three big off the top, and then 6 months ago the fire chief retired.
Yeah. They I'll tell you, Chief McClam only did 5 years with Fayetteville.
Yeah,
about 5 years. He came to us 5 years ago. Chief Lewis, he was my captain back when I was on rescue. He was my captain, and Chief Bowers, he's a legend of the Fayetteville Fire Department. But all of them, seeing their impact that they had on the agency in their time here, whether it was as short as 5 years or as long as Chief Lewis and Chief Bowers doing almost their whole 30 here, they really made some big moves.
They did, and one thing that's evident is, especially Chief Lewis, Chief Bowers, and the platform they built, especially with USAR, the team hasn't lost a beat. I believe Chief Ferguson's taken over the USAR team now, and that's a product of growth and development of from underneath, to build up the foundation. The
groundwork that they lay makes it possible that our folks can move up. We'll talk more about some promotions later, but as folks promote into these new positions, they can make little changes, and we want to progress and get better, but the groundwork is laid, so they can take it and run with it, and it's not a crazy adjustment period. Yeah,
and that's been evident with the changes coming. Other changes, Chief Rickmeyer, David Rickmeyer, went from Assistant Chief. Now he's Deputy Chief of Operations. He was the Hazmat Chief. And then you got Battalion Chiefs Michael Autry and Dan Mafia, both recently promoted to Assistant Chief. Michael Autry will be overseeing the Hazmat program, and Chief Mafia will be overseeing our EMS program.
Yeah, that's a big change for those two, going from their, as a battalion chief, Chief Mafia was on shift, working that 10-day schedule, supervising folks, still getting to go to fires and all those things. Chief Autry, he was over our planning and research strategic planning office. He's been our accreditation manager for the last 5 years. So both of those guys, not just are they promoting, but they're stepping into very different roles from what they've been doing for the last 5.
Yeah, so they both oversee, each of our assistant chiefs oversee a shift, and then they each got a specialty in which they oversee. So like you said, Chief Autry went from a shift battalion chief, Battalion 2C, into accreditation.
Yep.
And now he's going to be overseeing all his C shift, plus overseeing the hazmat program.
Yeah.
So, in Chief Mafia, he does a lot on the EMS side. He's always been involved in EMS, very involved with Sager Stadium and providing our EMS staff there. So
yeah, I work closely with him. I try to work as many shifts as I can at the stadium. I really enjoy working out there, and he facilitates that program. He's still going to keep that for the time being, managing that. So congratulations to all of them, because they're making big things happen.
Yes, they are, and with all these promotions, we got a lieutenant and captain's list. They're just biting at the bit, waiting now, and now we're starting the process for battalion chief promotions.
Yeah, battalion chiefs, they're coming up this month. Have a whole lot of people eligible. It's very exciting to see some folks that I'm in my career where I'm seeing the younger folks that I came up with starting to step into these roles. Somebody who I was a peer with next week could be my boss. And that's really cool to see because I trust all of them. I got, no qualms with them being my boss.
And it's funny, I look down this list now, and most of them I was either firefighters with or maybe they were firefighters under me.
Yeah.
And now they're all going right on by me.
Yeah, you were a lieutenant when I got hired. I remember out there on Engine 15 with you.
So that's pretty funny. And you yourself, you've taken on new responsibility. Your first full-time fire department public information officer.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of opportunities to get out there and reach the community and spend time actively engaging with folks in Fayetteville. For the last 5 years, I've functioned as the recruiter, and I love telling people about the fire service. I've been on the podcast before talking about the fire service, but I also had to manage the fire academy, so I had to facilitate all the initial training of all those folks that I try to bring into the agency. So now I can really focus not only on the recruitment side, but also the fire life safety education side. So kind of taking part of your former duties, I'm going to have some folks that are doing fire life safety education, community risk reduction, and really digging into how we can prevent the incident through public education and public information.
And that's a big thing. You kind of took my people from me. But yeah, so you've now, I would say you are the front face and the outward facing individual of our fire department with the recruiting, with the public safety, the public information, the fire life safety educators. You are the out face, and you and your new staff.
Yeah.
Are the people that reach our community, are going to be seen in our community.
Yeah, and I've told Chief Willett, and 100 times me and him have had the conversation that public information is recruiting. So I'm trying to be the recruiter, and I want to bring people in and inspire people into the fire service. And one way to do that is putting that information out, telling our story. I want to tell the story of the Fayetteville firefighters and all the amazing things they're doing on the streets and in their fire stations and in the schools. And then partnering with that is that public information of education in those schools and in those nursing homes and wherever else there could be risk in Fayetteville, getting out and minimizing that.
And speaking of public education, when we're talking first on the fire department, we've just recently hired our first public or educator, former educator, civilian, to be a fire life safety educator, community risk reduction specialist.
Yeah, Miss Mary Murphy joined our staff on Monday. We're excited to have her. And one of the things that we wanted to kind of re-envision and reimagine fire life safety education, that you can have a firefighter background and you can understand fire and you can understand risk, but that doesn't necessarily mean you know how to teach. And we have a bad habit in the fire service of when we need a job done, we teach a firefighter to do it. We don't hire the perfect person to do that job. We teach a firefighter to do that job. And that's the fire service nationwide. That's not Fayetteville. So this year we kind of went out and we were searching for that person with the educational background who could look at program development and curriculum development and data and what the risks are to provide that educational piece in a way that people can understand.
And I was part of the conversation with the chiefs when they were tossing this idea around. And, just myself going to a CRR conference out in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or going to the National Fire Academy, I was running into meeting a lot of educators, fire life safety educators, community risk reduction specialists that came from outside the fire service. And I was, astonished at the time, but now I'm seeing it to be more the norm that we bring an educator in to teach education, to do the education piece, not a fireman.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks that are amazing at what they do, but maybe they're not the best communicators. They're not the best public speakers. So bringing in the right people for the right job, we're making some really good strides in that.
In a city of our size, in a department our size, in so many schools, it is about impossible. Even elementary schools, it's about impossible to get to every elementary school, to every grade level throughout one school year. I mean, it'd be about impossible to get to every first grade class throughout the city with all the schools. So what is the vision going forward?
So when we're talking about reaching into the schools, we have an opportunity where we can actually develop a program to provide to the teachers to teach. Obviously, our firefighters are still going to be visiting the schools. They're still going to be coming in and Fire Prevention Week, showing them the fire trucks, teaching them about fire safety. But we also need the teachers themselves. They're not exactly sure what to teach. So now we can provide them with that information in a format and structure that fits into their curriculum. And that's what I'm really excited for. So now it's not going to be just the firefighters, fire safety's everybody's responsibility. So now everybody gets to play a part in it.
Yeah, and that was one of the visions I had after coming back from the fire academy this last time was, we can't get out and teach all these kids. Let's get with the school system. Let's get with the teachers that are already in place and provide them a program that they can deliver. And then we're getting the message out to even more and more kids. And the earlier we get to them, hopefully the better.
For sure.
So, yeah, that's exciting. What else do we got going on? So we got Sam Gozzard. She has now moved into accreditation specialist. A lot of people might think, well, what's that? She was an office assistant. Now she's going to accreditation specialist. That's a pretty big piece right there.
Yeah, that's huge. When Sam came to us, she was actually the office assistant in my division. So I got to know her and I got to see firsthand her capabilities. And we started to realize she needed to be over there in the planning and research division. That's really where she belonged with her skill set. And accreditation is a process that it's a continuous improvement process. It's a constant self-evaluation, and having her dedicated to that to help manage that is going to make it that much better and find those things that we can get better at.
And we're one of 120?
109. Last I checked, there was 119 ISO Class 1 internationally accredited agencies carrying both on the planet. 119 agencies on the globe. Fayetteville Fire Department's one of them, and I'm proud of that.
Absolutely. It's something to be very proud of. And she's great. I work with her all the time with Image Trend. She's like a magician with the Image Trend. Hey, can we do this? And tappity tap, and it's done. So
for those that don't know, Image Trend, that's our records management system. Image Trend is our records management system where we keep all that data. And Captain Cheetah, in your previous role as the fire life safety educators, you were you were digging into a lot of data of fire causes and origins, and now you're transitioning into fire cause and origin and fire investigator being all you do. So how's that going to look?
So I'm excited. First full-time, another first for the City of Fayetteville or Fayetteville Fire Department, first full-time fire investigator. So, I've been investigating fires for, pretty much 26 of my 27 and a half years here, going from on shift and being the smartest guy on shift, come look at this, to we developed our investigation team late 2005, early 2006. Former Chief Ron Lewis had a vision, and we started the investigation team. We got with the ATF, the SBI, started Fayetteville Police Department, started having monthly meetings and putting some plan together. And in 2013, we all moved to Station 2 and been running off Engine 2. But it's been the management piece, I think, has always been a challenge because, the fire marshal was always the manager of the team, but the fire marshal also had the code enforcement, also had the fire life safety educator, so he's multi-hatted role. So now my Chief Dove entrusted in me to oversee the fire investigation program and be the lead investigator, so to speak. I got one person, one job, one goal. So I'm real excited about that.
And you also have that team at Station 2 who's still there to support you and support the program. I mentioned earlier, we have a bad habit in the fire service of teaching firefighters how to do something. We all have different roles. We all have additional roles. So those guys at Engine 2, not only were our arson investigation team, but they also had to be firefighters.
Yeah.
They also had to be EMTs. They also had to respond to vehicle accidents. So with having you there to help support that continuity when they get crazy busy, they have that support who isn't running all those calls that can manage the program.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the consistency also. I'm at Station 2. I just moved in this week. So I'm right there for these guys. If they got a question, I can assist them, make sure all three shifts that we're doing the same thing and the right thing as far as investigation. And another big piece will be, being that liaison to the police department, that constant contact with our detectives that are working with us, and eventually the DA's office and everything. We can be one nice happy family and get that rapport built.
Yep.
So we can better go after these fire cases.
And as we're better as we are investigating those cases better and we're finding those causes, most fires are not arson. Most fires are accidental cooking fires, discarded materials, whatever the case may be. As you're focusing on that and you're gathering those causes, that information can then be forwarded to my team for that public outreach education to prevent those accidents. And it's just a constant flow. It's a never-ending flow of information between us, but having people to focus on those individual areas is awesome. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too, because, it's more than just doing investigations on the scene, but it's delving into them causes and whys. And I'll help review reports and make sure they're accurately entered. We're giving the right info to the state and to the nation, to NIFRs, and to the U.S. Fire Administration that we're accurately reporting, but we can identify them problem areas like cooking fires.
Yep.
We've always identified cooking fires, and we in the middle of building a mobile kitchen so we can do demonstrations, folks, show how dangerous it is to have an unattended cooking.
Let me just thank you for having that done before you handed it over to me, because I am not a builder. I am not a person who could build a trailer the way you have for educational purposes. So thank you for wrapping that up before it came to me.
Yeah, it's not quite wrapped up. You'll probably see me. We got a few countertops and
we got a few things to finish.
Do a few test burns. But yeah, when it comes to fire, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, other big news happening recently, our budget was passed for the next year.
Yeah, just this past Monday.
One of the big things for us is a significant pay raise for public safety,
yes, sir.
Including our firefighters.
Yeah, it's hearing folks on the street talk about it. It's it's not just that we got a pay raise. Everybody was excited. We're always excited to get those adjustments and those raises. But this was a pretty drastic adjustment. The city is investing in our people to show that they're valued and we need them. Again, help with that retention and that recruitment. We're struggling nationwide. Everybody's struggling to keep people. So the city wanted to take some steps to recruit and also retain the best folks. And I'll tell you, it's there's some smiles on the faces when people saw those numbers come out, and it means something to have the support of the city, and we're excited for it.
Well, and the key word I kept seeing all through it was competitive market value.
Yeah.
And that's got them as an employee. When you have city leaders and a city council say, hey, we want to be competitive in our market, in the market with other cities, other counties, other municipalities and stuff. We want to be competitive. We appreciate our folks. That means a lot.
Yeah. And it's also, like, I got a buddy who does what I do in Charlotte, same rank, same position, and he's making probably 40% more than I am. And people hear that and they're like, "Oh, that's horrible." I'm like, "Yeah, but a house in Charlotte's $500,000. I can't afford to live in Charlotte for that amount."
Right.
He doesn't even live in Charlotte. So you look at that market value. What is the market value of a position, and recognizing that costs are going up for everybody. That we know it. Nobody's immune to the increase in costs, but we want to make sure that we're not only paying people that livable wage, but really what their worth is. And we are an ISO internationally accredited agency, again, one of 119 on the planet. That means something to us, and our employees are what got us there. It wasn't the council members, it wasn't city management, it was our firefighters, our line officers, our people on the street, and we want to recognize them for that. So
yeah, and I will say the council voted on it Monday night. I believe Tuesday, Chief Dove sent out a little email kind of spotlighting it, and probably Wednesday I seen a lot of smiley faces.
Yes, sir.
So that's good. So many changes going on. I mean, it's like I said, I've been here 27 and a half years, and this is probably as many significant changes all at one time with retirements, promotions, readjusting, realigning that I've ever seen.
When I talk to recruits, when I talk to recruits coming in the academy, I kind of tell them we're a very fluid city. Things are always changing, always adjusting. So believe it when you see it. Trust it when it's been that way for 6 months. And then 6 months later, get ready for more change, because things are always changing. But what's not changing is our folks getting on those fire trucks and running calls and protecting the city of Fayetteville. That's not changing. Our strategic plan has laid out not exactly how we're going to do everything, but really the hows and what we're going to do and how we're going to respond. And that doesn't change overnight. So we can make all these things to make things better, But what's not changing is the guys showing up.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it's important that we're talking about this today because, a lot of folks on the street are going to just read an email. Some of them won't even read it.
Yeah.
I've had firefighters go, I didn't get that email. And be like, yeah, you did on this day at this time. They'd be like, oh, there it is.
There's the junk box.
So for the folks on the street that are doing the day in and day out and the backbone of our department, they're not going to, so to speak, see a lot of these changes or, hopefully they'll feel them. Yeah. They're not going to see them up front and fully understand, but hopefully on the backside, they feel how these changes really improve what they're doing also.
Seeing that big picture.
Yeah.
When I was coming up, back when you were a lieutenant on Engine 15, the captain was cause and origin. That was the captain's job. It was the captain's job to figure out the origin of the fire and what caused it. So that meant the firefighters were stuck there just as long as the captain was digging that fire out. Well, some of our firefighters today have never experienced sitting on a fire for 5 hours while we dig it out and investigate it because of the progress we've made with the fire investigation team, and they're the ones there doing it. So some of the young folks, they don't even remember what it's like to sit there for 5 hours while you had to dig that fire out.
I think when I was a rookie, my captain at the time, Bobby Horn, who was a CFI and was on the arson task force for the county, he was the guy on shift. So before I went to school and really got into it, I remember sleeping in the back of Engine 11 for a couple of hours that night while he's in there messing around with a fire.
Yep. In 2007, I was assigned with my captain was part of that original planning team. Captain Morgan, Chief Morgan, just retired not too long ago. So I had many nights out there with him because he was on. That was before we had a centralized location. Captain Morgan was at 6. You were at 7, I think. Yep. And wherever the fire was at, we would just pull one of those people from the house they were at. So here's Shake Shaft, no clue anything about arson investigation, but I'm out with Captain Morgan doing the digging out for however many hours.
Yeah, and that's how I started. I got tired of just laying in the back of the fire truck, so I asked Captain Horn, I said, can I pop in with you? And it just progressed from there. Hey, here's a school to go to, and then it just became a thing.
Yeah.
So, a lot of changes. I'm excited. Direction of the fire department. That Chief Dove has made his 3-month splash, so to speak. Excited of the direction we're going and where we continue to be at, and we continue to raise that bar, so to speak.
Yeah, and Chief Dove has said it 100 times, and I'll say it again, that none of the changes that we're making are because something was broken. We're making changes to make something that was great even better. Chief Hill laid groundwork, Chief Major laid groundwork, Chief Nichols laid groundwork, and we're taking something that has been absolutely awesome for me in my 18 years. Even bad days at work are pretty good in the last 18 years, and we're just taking that good and making it better, as opposed to, Chief Dove has the opportunity to do all the stuff he's doing because he doesn't have a lot to fix.
Right. So reiterate, we're not fixing. And part of accreditation is the bar was here. Where's your bar going to be at 5 years?
Yeah.
And then 5 years from now, your bar's here. Where's it going to be at the next 5 years? So what we're doing is we're just raising that bar.
Correct.
We're being more proficient in areas or tweaking in areas to just raise that bar to the next level.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely nothing that was wrong or any deficiencies by any means.
Yeah. 15 years ago, it's been more than 15 because we've been reaccredited 3 times now. So it's been more than 15 years ago that we started this accreditation process, and I didn't understand it. As a firefighter on the street, they came down and they said, hey, you're going to do these 10 risk assessments a month. Well, why? Because accreditation says you have to. What's accreditation? We didn't understand what we were getting into at the time. Even the guys planning it didn't really know the depths of what we were going to get into. And the progress we've made through that process has just been awesome.
Oh, yeah. And I'll go back, I was a line captain when we started accreditation, and even I didn't understand a lot of it. And when I moved into my daytime position a little over almost 2 years ago now, and then started with the data and the community risk reduction piece of it and everything, is really when it fully started to come to my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what it's about, and this is where we need to go.
Yeah, if anybody's listening to this who's in the fire service or looking at the fire service, if you have the opportunity to take a administrative role that's temporary, you go in, spend a few years, and learn that back end, I have learned more in the last 5 years than I learned in the first 14 years of fighting fire. I can promise you that. You are going to learn so much about the back end of the department, and that helps us on the street when the young person who doesn't get it and they're just being told to do it, having those line officers back on the street after they've served that time in administration is valuable because they're that voice. They're that voice to help us spread that message.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity for you captains out there to take that step back, get a rebreath, doing something admin, see a different side of it. It makes that whole picture more rounded. And then when you step back on that rig, you're a whole different way of life.
An added advantage, give your knees a break.
Yeah.
14 years on a fire truck for me, 20 some for you.
Yeah.
A little bit of time stepping up, stepping out of your comfort zone and give your knees a break. It's a win.
And a back. Yes, it is. All right. Well, I appreciate you joining me, Captain Shake Shaft. Our safety tip for this month is fireworks safety. Like I said earlier, more than 9,000 people nationwide are annually treated for firework-related injuries, with 62% of them occurring during the months surrounding the 4th of July. Children under 5 years of age account for more than half of the total estimated injuries. With this being said, handheld sparklers, which seem innocent enough, can burn at a temperature of 1,200 to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. More than 19,500 reported fires are started by fireworks annually, and half firework-related injuries seen in emergency rooms involve extremities like hand, fingers, or legs. And just remember, exploding and projectile type are illegal in the state of North Carolina. As always, working smoke alarms save lives. Last month, almost 2/3 of the houses we visited did not have a working smoke alarm. 40% of fatal fires occur in residents with no working smoke alarms. But having a working smoke alarm alone is not enough. You must also have an escape plan. Thanks for joining us on the Fayetteville Fire Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to Radio Fayetteville on your favorite streaming platform to listen to all of our podcasts. Join us again next month, and until then, be safe.